Random J Productions presents the Palm Summer League. Tonight, we're here at the Minnesota Motorsports Park here in Canyon Falls for our final race here in the 2023 season, the T-Mobile Summer Finale. And as you can see, 33 of the world's best drivers are all lined up on the grid, ready for some action on this fast and exciting track. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Josh, your commentator for tonight's race, and at last, we have come to the final night of summer, which is the last chance for one of these drivers to claim a win, and for some, a chance to claim the first ever Palm Summer League Championship. One of those drivers that have a chance comes into the night as the points leader, and that is none other than the 37 of Brendan Beal. This 37 team hasn't really been the headlines compared to other drivers throughout the summer, but as we've seen with past champions and past series, consistency can be the key to victory. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, this driver has been in contention in just about every race this summer and comes into the night just 2 points back from the leader, and that is the 88 car of Hoodlum. The 2021 Golf Summer Series champion not only has experience of winning a championship, but also is a driver willing to make bold and aggressive moves no matter where and when. Then there's his own father and teammate, which is the 46 of Johnny Hernandez. This is the most competitive Hernandez has been since the Winter Street Stocks in 2021, as he looks to challenge his son to potentially claim Hernandez Racing's second Random J Series championship. And lastly, speaking of teams, an entire organization all within 6 points of the points leader, with all but one of them having won this year, and as the 3-car organization and 2022 Summer Series champions of RC Motorsports. The 71 of Kyle Salmon won the last intermediate race at California. The 40 of Nick Sant is fresh off his big Firecracker 400 win, while the team owner of Alex Mullen has yet to win, but has been right there for his teammates, and we'll get to talk with Mullen for more insight into the situation before we get things going. Now, in the grand scheme of things, these are just drivers inside the top 6 in points, but mathematically, 31 out of the 33 drivers racing here tonight all have a shot of winning this championship. But of course, the further down you are in points, the more miracles you need to have happen in order to have even a shot of contending with the top dogs. But before this exciting night gets underway, we need to first take a look at our starting lineup and pre-race ceremonies. So on the pole is the 24 Keyshawn Richardson and the 6-car Brad Ream, both looking to end their rather disappointing seasons on a strong note. Row 2, Jose Angel in the 79 and the 20 of Kellen Baker. Row 3, Random J in the 53 and the 44 Matthew Burnett. Row 4, got 2 Dodges here, the 91 of Ross McTrain and the 41 of Mopar. Row 5, Nick Sant, who's fresh off his Firecracker 400 win, and the pole winner of said Firecracker, Braden Carruthers is in the 19. Row 6, the 87 of Chris Murray, and the 33 of Patrick Miller. Row 7, Joe T in the 99, and reigning Minnesota winner, Whip C in the 9 car. Row 8, Hoodlum, who of course came in this race second in points, and the 11 car of Jordan Stout. Row 9, California winner, Kyle Salmon, and the 76 of Daniel Voiles. Row 10, Owen Miles of the 25, and the 97 of Nathan Stapleton. Row 11, summer kickoff winner, Jordan Forbes, and the 49 of Dylan Matthews. Row 12, Jason Albert in the 80, and the 37, the points leader of Brendan Beal. Row 13, Trey Smith in the 4, and another championship contender, Alex Mullen in the 1. Row 14, Roberto Crown in the 21, and Ryan Wilson in the 38. Row 15, Daniel Rice in the 43, and his teammate and another top 6 driver, Johnny Hernandez in the 46. Row 16, the 17 of Dan Mattiello, and the 82 of Jordan Caldwell. And finally, row number 17 is the 59 of Caleb Rose. Now, before we play our national anthem, let's have a chat with the owner driver that has all 3 cars in his team within 6 points of the leader. Hey, Alex, this is Josh up in the booth. Got a copy?
Yes, sir, I gotcha.
Hey, man, this is probably the biggest race ever for you and this entire RC Motorsports team, with not only yourself, but also all of your other teammates within striking distance of this championship. I'm just kind of curious, how did those team meetings go when it came to preparing for this race, and how are you and the other teammates planning to race each other tonight?
Yeah, throughout the week it's been a lot of team discussion, especially like sharing notes on the setup. But when it really comes down to it, it's going to be a 1v1v1 between all of us guys. It's really nice to have all three of our RC Motorsports Chevys in striking distance for the championship, especially since I've never really had much a shot before. Yes, we have won a championship as a team, but we haven't had this many cars in it once. So yes, it is a team, but ultimately at the end of the day, all three of us want to win a championship, and me, I still want to get my first win, so it's just going to be between the three of us mostly through the race.
All right, man. Good luck out there tonight at this really fast and fun track. Hope you have a good one here tonight.
Thank you, man.
And now it's time for our national anthem here in the T-Mobile Summer Finale. And now, for one last time here in the Palm Summer League here in 2023, it's time for the most famous words in motorsports.
Drivers, start your engines!
Taking a look at the track info here for tonight's race, we're going to go 60 laps on this roughly 1 mile long quad oval with 23 degrees of banking in the corners. And as for the weather here tonight in Canyon Falls, it's a rather cool 54 degrees Fahrenheit with 4 miles per inch towards the southwest. And you can see the past winner here in Minnesota, Lipsy, last year in the Golf Summer Series, as he won in a very, very close finish with Johnny Hernandez. And already this sold-out crowd here in Minnesota are already and all on their feet, ready to see 33 of the world's best drivers for one final time this summer. But only 31 of them have a shot of winning the first ever Palm Summer League Championship as the T-Mobile Summer Finale is underway here in Minnesota. We're 3 wide already off turn number 2 as Random J forces Baker to the middle and Ream to the outside is into turn number 3. Here comes Jose Angel side by side with Keyshawn Richardson. And Angel will clear Richardson with ease as we come to lead lap number 1 here in Minnesota. With Random hot on his heels into turns 1 and 2, but that time by Random lost a lot of ground on the 79 as here comes the 40th Nixon right behind the 53. Through turns 3 and 4, here comes Nixon looking to the inside of the 53. Of course, Nixon is one of those championship drivers, and he's wasting absolutely no time here tonight as we come to lap number 3. And speaking of which, you see Hoodlum make it 3 wide on the rail 15 teammates of Raymond Lipsy. And it looks like this time by Hoodlum is going to lose a little bit of ground in the middle as back up front we're once again side by side for the lead. This time between Jose Angel and Nixon as Nixon will clear the 79 into turn number 3 with Chris Murray also coming up alongside this picture as he's now going to be side by side for with Nixon. Coming to lap number 4 is Richard, now he gets turned by Baker. Oh my goodness, what a save there by Keyshawn Richardson as both Nixon and Murray remain side by side for the lead with Murray clearing Nixon off of turn number 2. Now we do indeed have a replay of Richardson's incredible save. So he was looking to the inside of Random, but then Baker also looks to the inside of the 24. And there's just not enough room for 4 wide off of 4. And Richardson doing a fantastic job of saving that car, not hitting the wall by going onto that sand trap. and will live to fight another day. Meanwhile, here in lap number 5, through turns 1 and 2, you see Ross McTrain side by side with Chris Murray for the lead, as these two will continue to be side by side down the back straightaway, and into turn number 3 with McTrain finally clearing Murray for the lead. Now let's take a look at the point standings after 6 laps, and so far Nick Sand's on top of the standings with 143 points as he leads Ross McTrain by 3, Joe T by 14, Holden by 16, Brendan Beal by 16, Jordan Forbes by 19, and Kellen Baker by 23. Now on all the drivers on that list, Forbes is the only one that got a bonus point from his Daytona duel race, and even though it's just one single bonus point, it could mean the difference between winning and losing the championship. Anyways, that time by, Matt Fernandez, the 44, actually took the lead away from Ross McTrain, as he'll tuck into second with Kellen Baker tucking in the third, right in front of Nick Sand, with Jose Angel running off the rest of the top 5, with Baker getting a strong run through turns 3 and 4, as he now looks for second on Ross McTrain. And you see Bradley Reed just behind his half dozen so trying to make up ground, as here's Angel once again side by side with Nick Sand, as this time it's going to be for the 4th position, as in front of him McTrain and Baker remain side by side for second, and that's probably going to remain that way through turns 3 and 4, as Baker gets a strong run to the inside alongside Angel, as here's Baker now side by side for the lead on Burnett as we come to lap number 9. And it looks like that time by, Baker did clear Burnett for the lead as that 20 car will get an extra bonus point here tonight, but Burnett's going to continue to fight back on the outside. Through turns 3 and 4, much like in lap number 1, Angel's going to get a strong run to the inside as he's going to be side by side with the fellow Pontiac, as off of 4, we're 3 wide for 3rd. At that time by, Murray, McTrain, Nero made contact, but behind this 3 I got another 3 wide. This is for, I believe, the 6th position. I was on board with Nick Sand through turns 1 and 2. And as these guys still remain 3 wide, Nick Sand's going to get forced up to the outside. Here comes Jason Albert side by side with the 40 car, alongside the 24 Keith Search, and trying to get inside this picture as well. That time by, coming to lap number 1, Jose Angel leads the second lap of the night, as we're still 3 wide towards the front of the pack, with Chris Murray now side by side with Baker for second. And there's that strong run on the inside from Murray, as he's going to gain a lot of ground on the 79, as here comes the rest of the field once again, making it 3 wide off of turn number 4, coming to lap number 12. Jason Albert was out of nowhere is going to be 3 wide for 3rd, as up front we're once again side by side for the lead. There's just lots of action everywhere here in the front. It's almost really hard to keep up with what's going on. But here comes Roberto Crown peeking his nose to the inside of Murray, as those two are going to be side by side for the lead. Coming to lap number 13 with Crown, Barry beating Murray back to the line. Of course, Roberto Crown did very well on the last intermediate race over in California, as he looks to become just the 2nd former GSS winner to win here in the Palm Summer League. Coming to lap number 14, you see Angel trying to fight back with Murray to get back up to 2nd place, with the fellow Pontiac of Baker right in tow. As soon as I stay there, here comes Richardson, now looking to the inside of the 20 as you come off turn number 2 once again. Now going back to our championship picture, you see Johnny Hernandez, who of course came this race 2nd in the standings, moving up through the field. He just went 3 wide off turn number 4 there, is actually able to make that work as you come to lap number 15. As I will move Hernandez up to the 13th position, barely hanging on inside the top 15. And as of this moment right now, Hernandez is being shown as the points leader, with Joe T now behind by 3, Crown behind by 8, Nick Sant and McTrain now behind by 9, Salmon behind by 11, and Hodum behind by 12. As you see the 88 car trying to make up at least some sort of ground here, coming to lap number 16. As Hodum is currently scored below the top 20, where Brendan Beal, who of course came to this race as the points leader, has so far been a non-factor tonight. He's currently scored in 28th, outside the top 25, and not even inside the top 7 in points. And speaking of Joe T, we're now 3 wide for the lead, coming to lap number 17, as he forces McTrain in the middle and Richardson to the outside into turn number 1, as Joe T is going to lose a lot of ground here, as he's going to be 3 wide again, this time with Angel and Crown. Now looks like through turns 3 and 4, McTrain's going to go back to the lead here in Minnesota, coming to lap number 18, and coming to our final edition of Palm Summer League Crank It Up here in 2023. It's lap number 24 of 60 here in Minnesota for the T-Mobile Summer Finale, as Johnny Hernandez continues to show that he is the class of the field here tonight, as he's currently the championship leader as well as the race leader, as here's Ross McTrain now side by side the 24 due turns 3 and 4, with McTrain moving back up to second, as Smith's going to go 3 wide off of 4 and coming to lap number 25. And taking a look at the points on the right side of your screen, Hernandez still leads with his son Hodem trailing by 9, Joe T trailing by 15, Kyle Salmon trailing by 16, Ross McTrain trailing by 19, Alex Mullen, who hasn't said too much about today, trailing by 21 points, so Jordan Caldwell is now instead of top 7, trailing by 29 points. And speaking of Hodem, here he is, 3 wide for third, forcing Smith to the middle and shuffling Caldwell to the outside into turn number 1. But unfortunately for Hodem, he didn't get a good run into turns 1 and 2, as he'll now be side by side of Joe T for the final top 5 position. Meanwhile, McTrain is all over the back bumper of Fernandez, trying to get a run off the 46, which has really been the norm for the inside lane throughout the entire race. McTrain looking off the Caldwell as he's going to be side by side of Fernandez for the lead, while his teammate Caldwell is also going to be side by side with Trey Smith. Once again, we're 3 wide towards the middle of the pack with Joe T dropping like a rock on the outside, while Brad Ream is making his way up towards the field on the inside. And the same could also be said for Kyle Salmon at 71, as under the Nick stand, we haven't really talked too much about the RC cars tonight, as we're now 5 wide off of 4. That's Dylan Matthews continuing to force the issue into turn number 1 as she makes contact with Angel, sending her back in front of the field, in front of Chris Murray, Alex Mullen, and others. That's Dan Mattiello and Ryan Wilson with smoke coming out of their cars, as our first caution is going to come out just before the halfway point here in Minnesota. And there you can see the thick smoke coming out of both Wilson and Mattiello's cars, and in the case of Wilson, this will likely end his chances of winning another Random J Series championship for now, as he came to straight 7th in the point standings. And potentially the same thing could also be said to Alex Mullen in 1 car, as he has heavy damage towards the front end of that 1 car. And if you remember, Mullen, of course, came to straight 6th in the standings, and wasn't really running well to begin with anyway. But now as he comes down pit road, he comes through his pit stall, he's going to call quits here tonight. Alex Mullen out of the championship here in the Palm Summer League, alongside Ryan Wilson and Dan Mattiello. Meanwhile, that time, it looks like Jordan Caldwell led the field back to the stripe, with Hodem moving up to second, while Ross Rose probably had the best car so far out of anyone tonight, will round off the rest of the top 3. Meanwhile, Brad Ream in the 6th is currently in 4th, for Brittany Carruthers in the 19 will round off the rest of the top 5. As currently all 3 Breda Racing cars are inside this top 5, with all but one of these cars in this top 5 all being Dodges. So Dodge so far has had a really stellar night here in the Palm Summer League finale. And as you continue down the back, sure looks like everyone is set to come down pit road this time by as Hodem was stinking much staying out there, but says opts to join the rest of the field down pit road. So far, no one's taking any gambles when it comes to strategy here tonight. Now, of course, this is definitely a unique pit road compared to other tracks, as it follows the shape of the track, as opposed to just being one straight road for these drivers to do their pit stops in. So here we go, Caldwell is in this pit box. He's actually the second to last pit box out of anyone since he started deep in the field. See Johnny Hernandez is in, alongside his teammate Daniel Rice in the 43. Berto Crown, Jason Albert Hodem is in his pit stall. And it looks like the common call here will be 4 tires and gas, as this will be likely the only time these drivers will need to come down pit road, unless if we see a green white checkered finish or two. And here's your race off pit road of Caldwell first, Hodem second, McTrain third, Hernandez fourth as he barely beats Ream back to the line. Anyways, let's take a look at the instant replay to see what caused our first caution here tonight in the T-Mobile Summer Finale. So that big 5-wide mess ultimately started here on the back straightaway, as at this point in time, Dylan Matthews is side by side of Chris Murray towards the middle of the pack. So in the turns 3 and 4 here, Matthews gets a strong run on the inside, but subsequently at the same time, there was 4-wide action right in front of her, and Matthews was just simply at the wrong place at the wrong time coming towards the quadruple here, as these drivers continue to remain 5 wide until turn number 1, with Matthews going in the grass, making contact with Angel, sending her spinning right in front of Chris Murray, as that 87 car had absolutely nowhere to go, alongside Ryan Wilson and Dan Mattiello, sending the 38 right in front of the 87. All 5 of those drivers all calling it a night, just because of how bad their damage was. Let's take a look at this slow motion. So like I said, Matthews was essentially at the wrong place at the wrong time, as these drivers still remain 5 wide, coming to the start-finish line and going into turn number 1. And theoretically here, there was still enough room for this 5 wide to work. This could have been prevented if someone just backed off, but no one was giving. And when we eventually reach turn number 1 here, Matthews runs out of room, goes into the grass, and then tries to go back up the track right in front of Angel, sending the 49 spinning as well as 79, but fortunately for Angel, he was able to save that car. But unfortunately for Matthews, she spins right in front of 87 of Chris Murray, send the 87 car around as he had absolutely nowhere to go. And the same could also be said for Alex Bowen in the 1 car as he hits the left front of Matthews' car, sending Matthews back down the track, spinning back down the track, and right in front of Dan Matteo, who subsequently turns into Ryan Wilson, sending both those drivers spinning, with Patrick Miller just barely avoiding Wilson alongside Stapleton. I think Brendan Buell just barely misses Wilson. Oh, I think he touched him just a little bit. So there might be just some damage on the 37. And if there is, I don't think it's going to be that bad enough for Buell to go to the garage. Let's go on board with Dylan Matthews. So you see, the moment Matthews got onto the grass, he tried quickly to go back up the track, but instead went for a wild spin right in front of the entire field, taking several hard hits in the process. On board with Alex Mullen. So Mullen saw the spin, tried to slow it down, but just too little too late, and just barely got into the left side of Matthews, but it was enough for Mullen to call it quits here tonight. And finally on board with Brendan Beal. So unlike Mullen, Beal was far enough to get on the brakes to slow down, but does he miss it? Oh, I think he just barely missed it. What a miss there from Beal, as that right there could have been the end of his hopes to win the Palm Summer League Championship. But anyways, we're under caution for the first time here tonight in Minnesota for the T-Mobile Summer Finale, as we'll be right back for you guys after this. The official Palm Summer League car set for 2023 is now available for download. The link is in the description of this video. But anyways, here in Minnesota for the T-Mobile Summer Finale, we're about to go back green after a multi-car incident involving several championship drivers, notably Alex Bowman in the 1, the 38 of Ryan Wilson, as well as other drivers like the 17 of Dan Mattiello and the 49 of Dylan Matthews. All those cars are in the garage and done for the night. As for your current top 3, Jordan Caldwell in 82 is first, followed by the 88 car of Hoodlum and the 91 of Kyle Salmon. And speaking of Hoodlum, he is currently a points leader with 149 points, while Johnny Hernandez is father trails by 3 points, Salmon trails by 13, McTrain trails by 17, while Joe T trails by 18, Caldwell trails by 20, while Nick's here was up from earlier is trailing by 23. But anyways, as the pace car continues down pit road, we're back in the green here in the summer finale. Despite a good restart from Hoodlum on the outside initially, into turn number 1, the inside is going to once again prevail with Caldwell clearing Hoodlum with ease, as the 91 McTrain is going to be side by side of Hoodlum for second. Into 3, we're once again 3 wide with Hernandez near making contact with his son, as off of 4, we have a 3 wide battle for the lead with all 3 Brita Racing cars. And this goes to show that Brita Racing has really come to play here tonight, and despite Brita losing ground on the inside, his teammates up ahead will continue to battle for the lead. Meanwhile, behind the Brita Racing cars, you see Hernandez still 3 wide, this time with Trey Smith and the 21 Roberto Crown, as he's trying to make his way back up through the field. But through turns 3 and 4, McTrain will take back the lead, with Caldwell tucking into second, but here comes Carruthers looking at the insides. We're once again 4 wide off of 4, and hopefully this is not going to cause a wreck, as Ream's going to back off and get into the grass there a bit, while Owen Miles behind Ream also went 4 wide, but much like Bradley, also went to the grass to back off. Down the back shoulder, Carruthers is still side by side of Caldwell, with Crown also remaining on the inside, trying to challenge these 2 Brita Racing drivers. Off of 4, Crown will clear Carruthers for second. He's now trying to chase down McTrain for the lead, coming to lap number 36, as we're side by side into turn number 1, with Crown staying committed to the insiders has been the best lane to be in, especially in these turns. Down the back and into turn number 3, these 2 remain side by side before Crown finally clears McTrain into turn number 4, as now here's Brito looking at the inside of McTrain coming to lap number 37. Ream is all over the back bumper of Carruthers in the 1, as here comes Ream's teammate of Lipsy inside this picture alongside the 53 of Random J. But as soon as I say that, Random's going to lose a lot of ground off for turn number 2, as he's now currently side by side with Daniel Rice. Behind random, you can see some drivers making their way up through the field, like Daniel Voiles in the 76, the 24 Keith Arshin, and the 40 of Nick Sant. And in the case of those last two, they're trying to make their way back up through the field after falling back in traffic. The same could also be said for Johnny Hernandez and Hoodlum, as both the Hernandez Racing Championship contenders have lost a lot of ground in his outside lane. While Brendan Beal in the 37 hasn't been a factor at all here tonight, has been relegated towards the back throughout this entire race, and is just now finally starting to make up some ground here. Off of 4, once again forward with Jose Angel on the inside forcing the issue, almost very similar to what happened between him and Dylan Matthews that brought out our first caution. But back up to the race up front, Bradley Riemann, the 6 car, has assumed the lead, with Ross McTrain moving back up to 2nd, where Lipsy's down to 3rd. Meanwhile, Trey Smith in the 4 cars continues to maintain his ground in the front of the field, with his teammate Owen Miles also coming up through the field as well. As he comes down the block random off of 4, here's Smith looking to the inside of Lipsy for 3rd, as he going to turn number 1 once again. Now, it's worth noting that Miles is a driver that came to this race inside the top 10 in points in 10th, only 16 back from Brendan Beal, and that 25 is definitely trying to make the most out of that opportunity, especially with some of the drivers ahead of him in points, like Joe T and Forbes are currently running in the back. And there you see Nick Sant trying to make his way back up to the front after falling towards the middle of the pack. In the middle part of this race, now goes Hoodlum off the quad oval! Jordan Stout is going to get collected as well, as for the second time tonight, we're going to be under caution that involves one of our championship hopefuls. Oh my goodness, Hoodlum was one of the favorites to win here tonight. He came this race just 2 points behind Beal, and actually this past restart was the points leader. But now, Hoodlum was likely out of contention here for the Palm Summer League Championship. And suffice to say, this is going to have huge championship implications for the rest of the field. Anyways, that time by it was actually a Jacoan Racing top 2, with Owen Miles being scored as the leader, followed by his teammate Trey Smith. Roberto Crown into 21 is currently lined up in 3rd. The 91 of Ross McTrain is currently 4th, or Keisha Arshin is back into the top 5 and 5th. But anyways, we'll take a look at the instant replay to see what exactly happened to one of our championship juggernauts here tonight. So taking a look here in the back straightaway, Hoodlum was right behind his fellow championship contender and fodder, Johnny Hernandez, as in front of both of them, Stout, Salmon, and Mopar were 3 wide going into turn number 3. So in the 3, Hoodlum gets a run, looks to the inside of his fodder, but at the same time, here comes Patrick Miller forcing the Hernandez cars to the middle, but off of 4. Oh, I think Hoodlum comes up on Johnny, spins him out, with Stout having absolutely nowhere to go there. And suffice to say, it's going to be a pretty interesting family dinner after this race between father and son. So let's take a listen to slow motion. So much like last time with Dylan Matthews and Jose Angel, Miller gets a strong run off of 4 and held his line. In fact, all these drivers really held their line as Hoodlum comes up on Hernandez, which subsequently causes Hernandez to turn Hoodlum right in front of Jordan Stout and eventually set Hoodlum around back into Stout as both slammed the wall going into the quad oval. And you can see some of the drivers on the left side of the screen, like Forbes, Burnett, Joe T, and Stapleton all doing a good job of avoiding this mess, as Hoodlum continues to spin right in front of the start-finish line. Well, let's go on board with Johnny Hernandez. So Hoodlum came up on his inside almost immediately, was making contact, made a little bit of contact with Hernandez, but then Hernandez made contact with Stout, and then Hoodlum and set the 88 car around. And on board with Hoodlum. So Hoodlum comes up and boom, there's a contact. And the funny thing is, this is not the first time Johnny and Hoodlum have gotten into each other at a race. And as long as you keep racing, this surely won't be the last time, as we're under caution for the second time here tonight, here at the T-Mobile Summer Finale. Welcome back to the T-Mobile Summer Finale here in Minnesota. We're about to come back green after one of your championship favorites here tonight, Hoodlum in the 88 car, went for a spin after contact with his own fodder and teammate of Johnny Hernandez. And even though Hoodlum will continue the rest of this race, that 88 car does have significant damage and will more than likely be off the pace from the rest of the field. Speaking of the rest of the field, Owen Miles in the 25 is currently your leader, followed by Trey Smith and the 21 of Roberto Crown. And as you can see on the points on the right side of your screen, it is a 3-way tie for the lead between Miles, Nick Sant, and Brendan Beal. While Ross McTrain trails by 8 points, Hernandez trails by 11 points, Kyle Salmon trails by 13, and Roberto Crown trails by 14. So this championship is still very much wide open, especially with one of the favorites in Hoodlum being all but out of it. And we're going to find out who's going to win this close and exciting championship within the next 15 laps here in Minnesota. Great restart for Owen Miles as his teammate is losing ground on the outside lane. But here comes Roberto Crown looking at the inside of Miles down the back straightaway. Miles is going to shift up to the outside into turn number 3 as we're 3 wide behind the top 2. As here's a strong run from Crown through turns 3 and 4 as he'll take the win away from Miles. But as I stand here comes Keyshawn Richardson and Nixon, also a strong run to the inside, coming to 14 laps to go. Richardson in turn number 1, blocking Nixon on the inside as he remains side by side with Crown for the lead, off for 2 and down the back straightaway. Meanwhile, Miles continues to his ground down the back straightaway as he's right in front of the 2 Breda racing cars into turn number 3. Off for 4, Richardson will maintain his lead over Crown, coming to 13 laps to go as Nixon is side by side to 21. Here comes Brendan Beal now inside this picture for the first time here tonight. That 37 car has been relegated towards the back the entire race, but he has showed up at the perfect time as he's 3 wide down the back straightaway. And of course, every single position and subsequently every single point is going to matter so much here in the closing laps of the PSL. It's this contact between McTrain and Rose. Thankfully, both drivers were able to save it, but into turn number 1, here comes Nixon side by side of Richard for the lead. And at the same time, Beal's going to be 3 wide for 3rd, forcing Miles to the middle and Crown to the outside, as here comes his teammate of Lipsy behind to help. Here's Beal again, looking to the inside of Miles, and now Lipsy's going to make it 3 wide off for turn number 4, as we're once again 3 wide for 3rd, coming to 11 laps to go. As you can see on the right side of your screen, Nixon leads Beal by 2 points. Those 2 positions Beal has to make up is going to be the difference between winning and losing this championship. And with just how close these points are, of course, the big question that will arise, will a tiebreaker be necessary? And if there will be a tiebreaker, Nixon will have the advantage over Beal, as of course Nixon did win the Firecracker 400, while Beal has yet to win a race this summer. But with only 10 laps to go, that of course could quickly change of how quickly these positions are changing, as Beal is now stuck on the outside, with Richardson looking to the inside and Nixon again for the lead into turn number 3. But watch out on the inside as here comes Lipsy and Daniel Rice off for turn number 4 as they're going to force a 3 right for the lead, coming to 9 laps to go. Rice had to back off a bit there and actually got into the grass into turn number 1 as Lipsy and Richard remain side by side off for 2 and down the back. Here comes another strong run from Nixon on the outside into 3 as Lipsy will clear Richard for the lead as now Nixon is going to be side by side with Richard again, this time for 2nd, coming to 8 laps to go. Meanwhile, just a little bit behind these guys, Beal is still 3 wide and stuck on the outside as here comes some other Dodgers trying to play in this fight as well, like Forbes and Rose. On board with Nixon once again down the back and into turn number 3 as he tries to get at least some sort of run off the 9. 7 laps to go this time by. Gap between Lipsy and Nixon is quickly closing into turn number 1 as Nixon looks to the inside and 9 cars are going to be side by side off of 2. Down the back, Roberto Crown is also going to be side by side of Keyshawn Richardson, or he's trying to be side by side of the 24 before Richardson defends 3rd for now, while Nixon will clear Lipsy for the lead off turn number 4, and they come to 6 laps to go. Here's Crown once again side by side, this time for 2nd. And as this battle for 2nd continues through turns 1 and 2, take a look at the points on the right side of your screen. Nixon is still the points leader, with Beal now 5 points back from the 40. While everybody else on down need a Hail Mary to happen if they even want to think about trimming Nixon's lead, but that time is quickly running out as it comes to 5 laps to go. And it seems like that Melmo is becoming clear for Rose, McTrain, and Beal as up front. Here's another battle for the lead. Here's Roberto Crown side by side with the 40. This could potentially be huge as you get 3 bonus points for winning a race if Nixon gets past right now. 3 points will be taken off his tally, putting Beal will be 2 back, and speaking of which, he's going to be 4 wide of his teammates off of 4, coming to 3 laps to go. And that aggressive and rather risky move from Beal is going to pay off as Beal is quickly closing in on Nixon, both on the track and in the standings. Down the back, here's Beal, gets to the inside of Nixon. They're going to be side by side for 3rd. Through turns 3 and 4, Richard will clear Crown for 1st, while Beal will clear Nixon as he's now going to be side by side for 2nd. 3 laps to go this time by. If you're Nixon, you got to think of something here. You're quickly losing ground. You only have 3 laps left. You got to get to the inside as soon as you possibly can. But any chances of opportunity are quickly running out as Beal is able to get around Crown for second, with Caleb Rose now coming in right behind the 37 as both of them try to chase down Keyshawn Richardson for the lead. 2 laps to go this time by. Right now it's just 2 cars that separate Beal and Nixon from one another, but that could potentially be changed to none as Nixon is going to get around Crown for 4th, while Rose is looking to the inside of Beal for 2nd. He returns 3 and 4. Rose is going to go around Beal for 2nd as he now looks for the lead on Keyshawn Richardson off of 4, coming to the white flag here in Minnesota. If you're Beal, you've got to get back down to the inside as soon as you possibly can as Nixon continues to fast approach into turns 1 and 2 as Rose is going to get around Richardson for the lead down the back, starting for the final time. He's going to tuck it right in front of the 24. Nixon right behind Beal as Beal is going to move Richardson up the track. As those two are going to be side by side for 2nd. Coming back to the line, it's going to be a Rail Fan 1-2. For Rose winning his first ever Random J Series race as Beal barely beats Richardson back to the line. Definitely a big congratulations to Caleb Rose, as this will mark the 2nd straight time a Rail Fan driver has gotten their first win here at Minnesota. But it won't be the only Rail Fan team that's going to celebrate here tonight, as that 2nd place finish from Brendan Beal will just put him ahead of Nick Sand in points, as Brendan Beal is your 2023 Palm Summer League champion. Obviously a huge congratulations to Brendan Beal, as he had an absolutely fantastic drive here tonight. They started towards the back, they struggled with the car early on, almost got into a wreck, but he kept his foot in the gas, and now he's the first ever champion here in Palm Summer League history. Now let's take a look at the replay, at the move that I really think helped Beal win this championship. So this is coming to lap number 57. Going into turn number 3 here, you see Beal getting a strong run on the inside with Ream right behind him. But then Ream forces Beal towards the middle, right next to Caleb Rose. But Beal keeps his foot in the gas, goes 4 wide with his own teammates all right there, but managed to make that work, gets a strong run into turn number 1. And with Rose coming up right behind him, those two were just able to set sail, as both of them will earn trophies here tonight. Anyways, for one last time this summer here in the Palm Summer League, let's take a look at the finishing results and final point standings here in 2023. So here we go. Caleb Rose wins his first ever Random J Series race. Of course, a big congratulations to him as well, as Rose has been in the series for quite some time, but has yet to get that elusive win until now. So huge congratulations to the 59 team for finally getting that win here tonight. Of course, his teammate Brendan Beal finishes 2nd and wins the Palm Summer League Championship despite not winning a single race this year. So this will mark the 3rd time in Random J Series history we have a winless champion, with the first 2 times coming from Ryan Wilson in the Winter Street Stocks and in the previous Golf Summer Series last year. Finishing 3rd is pole sitter Keyshawn Richardson, coming off what's been a rather disappointing season for both him and his other Atlanta teammates, as Jordan Stout and Random J also suffered rather disappointing point finishes. And 4th is Nixon, had a very strong car all night, but unfortunately it was just not enough to win the championship over Beal. While Roberto Crown in the 21 comes home with a solid 5th place finish. Brad Raymond, the 6th car, ironically finishes 6th, just ahead of his teammate of Lipsy, who finishes 7th, while Kyle Salmon, the 71, who was another championship contender, who didn't really talk about too much tonight, will finish 8th. Good finisher Jose Angel in the 79 as you finish 9th, and the round off rest of the top 10 is actually a driver who led the most laps and looked like he had the fastest car throughout the first half or so of the race, and that will be the 91 of Ross McTrain, as he and his other Breda Racing teammates fell back towards the end of the race, with McTrain being the only one to salvage the top 10. And now finally, for the final point standings here in the Palm Summer League in 2023, of course, Brendan Beal wins the championship by 7 points over Nick Sant. And of course, a fun fact, if you remember last year in the Golf Summer Series, 7 points was also the difference between Ryan Wilson and Matthew Burnett in those final point standings. Meanwhile, Kyle Salmon finishes 3rd, 12th back from the leader. Caleb Rose is actually one of the only drivers inside this top 10 to actually get dual bonus points, will finish 4th, 19 back from Beal. Meanwhile, Johnny Hernandez will have to settle with a 5th place finishing position. Jordan Forrest is also another driver inside this top 10 that did get bonus points during the duels. Meanwhile, Joe T in the 99 will finish 24 back from Beal. Ross McTrain, after a strong performance here tonight, will sneak inside the top 10 in points, finishing 8th, 25 points back from Beal. And there you see Hodum. If you remember going into the night's race, Hodum was 2nd in points, behind only by 2 from Beal, but now he'll have to settle for 9th place points finish, behind by 27. And to round off the rest of the top 10 is the 21 Roberto Crown, who also sneaks inside the top 10 after a strong run here tonight. And as for 11th through 20th, there you see Owen Miles in 11th. If you remember, at one point in this race, Miles was in a three-way tie for the points lead. But unfortunately for Miles, he fell back towards the latter part of this race and will finish below the top 10 in points. Meanwhile, Daniel Rice will finish 12th in points, 30 back from the leader, while the other Daniel Voiles, will finish 13th, 32 back from the leader. And there you see Alex Mullen will have to settle with 14th after DNFing in our first caution of the night's race. Patrick Miller finished 15th, 39 back, and 16th is Jordan Stout in 11, who's actually the highest finishing Aero Atlanta driver this summer, while Brendan Cruthers in 17th will finish right in between his two teammates of McTrain and Caldwell. Finishing 18th is Ryan Wilson, who unfortunately was not able to get his third Random J Series championship, while Lipsy in the 9 car will finish 19th, and right after the rest of the top 20 is his teammate of Bradley Ream in the 6. And that will do it for the first ever T-Mobile Summer Finale and the conclusion for our first ever Palm Summer League season. Now, of course, this series isn't as big in scale compared to our previous Golf Summer Series, but the moments and races that we did have this summer were still exciting nevertheless. And as for the future of the series, well, currently the plan is for the Palm Summer League to return in 2024, as I was able to properly balance my rather busy personal life and making these races for y'all to enjoy. But of course, like everything in racing, you'll never know for sure if there'll ever be a next time. So for me, I'll treat this like a mission and a goal accomplished. Of course, I have to say big thank you to everyone who supported the Palm Summer League this summer, everyone from our painters, our pre-race interviewees, our admins over in the server, the drivers that signed up, and of course you, the viewers, for continuing to watch these time-consuming races no matter where, when, or what type of cars or series. I also have to say another big thank you to the entire NR community for supporting this game for over 20 years, as all the tracks, cars, mods, tools, and other resources that I use to make these races wouldn't be possible without this amazing and loyal community. But for now, once again, I have to say a big congratulations to Caleb Rose for finally winning his first ever Random J Series race, and of course a big congratulations to Brendan Beal for winning the first ever Palm Summer League Championship here in 2023. And for one final time this summer, this is Josh signing out from Minnesota.